صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
Today we're going to talk about the sentence structure in the Arabic language. We will do a general review and then we will proceed thereafter in the next lecture to talk about it in more detail. But for today, we're going to talk about the general structure. We're going to talk about the two types of sentences that are in the Arabic language. In the English language, there's only one structure for a sentence, and that is a sentence that has a subject, a verb, and sometimes an object. In Arabic, we have that, but we also have something else. We have a verbal sentence that have a verb, subject, and sometimes an object or more, but we also have something called the nominal sentence. So we're going to discuss the difference between them, and when do we use them, and how do we use them. Okay? So, let's start with the simple verbal sentence. The verbal sentence in Arabic is defined as a sentence that starts with a verb. I will come back to the issue of it starting with a verb. Okay? So we will have a sentence like أكل الرجل شطيرة. The man ate a sandwich. أكل is our verb, الرجل is our subject, شطيرة is our object. And the structure is a verb, and we talk about verbs later on. When we talk about the different types of verbs, we will talk about their present, past, active and inactive, the different forms. That's a subject for another day. So we have a verb followed by a subject, and the subject is always, as we know from our subject chart, that it is always a marfu', it's always with an أكل الرجل or أكل رجل. And then we will have a object, and as we know from the object is always going to be mansub, is always going to be شطيرة or al-shatirata. So it's always ending with the mansub state. So nothing different than your English structure. We go now to talk about the nominal sentence. In English, there is something called the verb to be. The man is hungry. When we say the man is hungry is a sentence in the English language, and what does it do? It tells us not the action taken by the man, but it tells us the status of the man. So I would say something like, الرجل جائع, the man is hungry. So how did I achieve that in the Arabic language? I achieved it with a nominal sentence. A nominal sentence in Arabic is a sentence that does not have a verb, but it has a subject and it has a predicate. It has a fa'il or mubtada and a khabar, information, subject and predicate, two nouns. The structure of them is that the subject is always definite and the predicate is always indefinite. So when I have that structure, I will have in Arabic the equivalent of the verb to be in the English language. So I am saying الرجل جائع, الرجل مرفوع, جائع, the khabar, the predicate is also marfu', and the subject is definite and the predicate is indefinite. When I have that structure, الرجل جائع, I have achieved a full Arabic sentence with full meaning. I can put a full stop after it, and it's telling me the status of that man. It's not telling me the action of that man. So how do we translate a nominal sentence into English? We translate the nominal sentence into English as الرجل, the man is hungry. We introduce the verb to be in the translation because the English language cannot have two nouns attached to each other and form a full sentence. Okay? Yes, Justin.
So I'm having a hard time differentiating the difference between a nominal and a descriptive sentence.
Descriptive phrase.
Descriptive phrase. They sound very much the same.
Very good question. And actually they do sound the same, but for one difference. And that difference is the difference between making it a proper sentence and just having a phrase. So, a noun and its adjective is a phrase, is a descriptive phrase. And what is the rule? Here's the most important rule. Nouns and adjectives must agree on 4 things. 4 characteristics. They must agree on the case ending. So I say رجل جائع, both of them are in the marfu', or رجلا جائعا. They must agree on the case ending. They must agree on the definiteness. They must agree on the definiteness. So الرجل الجائع. I have al on both of them. Or I would say رجل جائع. Both of them are indefinite. They have to agree on the gender. So when I say رجل, I have to say جائع. If I say امرأة, a woman, جائعة, both of them have to be feminine. And finally, they have to agree on the count. الرجل جائع, الرجال جائعون. All right? So, when we take the simple one, الرجل جائع, Justin, that is a phrase. However, if I want to make it a sentence and say that the man is in the state of being hungry, I will say الرجل جائع. The subject is definite, but the predicate has to be indefinite. So listen to the two. First, the phrase الرجل الجائع. Now the sentence الرجل جائع. So in a sentence, you have a definite subject and indefinite subject, indefinite predicate, sorry, definite subject, indefinite predicate. But in a phrase, the case ending must agree. Either we say الرجل الجائع, or I will say رجل جائع, امرأة جائعة. Can you hear the difference now? It's
Yes.
the difference between the predicate being definite or indefinite. الرجل جائع is a sentence. الرجل الجائع is a descriptive phrase.
That makes sense, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Karen.
Okay, so I think I'm getting it, but so if a verb in Arabic always shows the action, then how do we show the status of a subject rather than the action of the subject?
A very good question. This, what you asked, is the whole reason why the Arabic language has a nominal sentence. Because a nominal sentence in the Arabic language, sole purpose is to show the status of the subject rather than to show the action of the subject. Arabic does not have a verb to be. There is no is in Arabic. Always remember that. There is no is in Arabic. So how do we show the be factor? We show the be factor by the structure of the nominal sentence. We give the subject, and we're gonna give him his status. We will give that status, and we do it in an indefinite form. الرجل جائع. Translating to English as the man is hungry. So, in Arabic, to show the status of a subject, we use the nominal sentence. To show the action of the subject, we will use the verbal sentence. So we'll say أكل الرجل شطيرة. The man ate a sandwich. And you notice I had to switch the order in English because the order in English is more rigid than it is in Arabic. I could have translated it literally, ate the man a sandwich, which sounds funny in English. So the order in English is far more important than it is in Arabic. We will talk about the order of the sentences either in this lecture or in the next lecture. So, to show a status in Arabic, I would use the nominal sentence. If I want to show the action of a subject, I would use the verbal sentence. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Excellent. So now, we will look at the verbal sentence. But before we do that, let's just one last time describe what the nominal sentence is. A nominal sentence is an Arabic sentence made out of 2 nouns. The first noun is always the subject, it's always definite, and it's always marfu'. The second part is the information about that subject. It's the khabar, it's the predicate. it is always indefinite. It's always indefinite, and it's always marfu'. So, الرجل definite مرفوع, جائع indefinite مرفوع. Now let's look at the verbal sentence. Remember at the beginning I said a verbal sentence is a sentence that starts with a verb. That's an important distinction. So what if I have a sentence that have a verb, but the verb is not the first word in the sentence? What do I have then? Believe it or not, if you have a sentence that has a verb that starts with a noun, it's a nominal sentence. We'll get to that in a minute. So, we are defining a verbal sentence in Arabic is a sentence that starts with a verb. We'll talk about verbs in another lecture. So I would say something like أكل الرجل شطيرة. أكل is our verb, meaning ate. الرجل is our subject. And remember, our subjects are always marfu', so it will always be الرجل, not الرجل or الرجل. أكل الرجل شطيرة. شطيرة is the object. It's the recipient of the action, and it will always be an sound, a mansub sound. Arabic, unlike English, has the freedom of order of the sentence. Where do I get that freedom from? I get that freedom from because I know that the subject will always be marfu' and the object will always be mansub. So now the order of the sentence will not disturb the meaning. If I say in English, God created the heavens. If I change the order, it will change the meaning dramatically. If I say the heavens created God, okay, that is a completely different meaning. So the order is very important. In Arabic, I would use the same words, but I have freedom. Why do I have freedom? Because I know the subject is always going to be with an u, and the object is going to be with a. So I would say khalaqa, our verb, created. Allahu, God, with an u sound. As-samawati, or we will say khalaqa Allahu al-arda, He created the earth. Okay. I can also say khalaqa al-arda Allahu. I can switch them around, but it's still God who's creating the earth, not the earth creating God. Why? Because the subject always have an u. So you will have far more freedom in your verbal sentence in Arabic than you do have in English. So, what happens if I have a sentence where I brought the subject first? Like I say, Allahu khalaqa al-arda. God created the earth. What happens then? Then I have a nominal sentence, and the predicate of that nominal sentence, so the subject of the sentence is Allahu, still following the same rules as we have before. Khalaqa al-arda is a verbal sentence that sits inside of that nominal sentence as the predicate. So, you should be asking me, what kind of predicates can I have? And the answer is, you can have 3 different types of predicates. You can have a nominal sentence with a subject, and the predicate is another noun. Ar-rajulu ja'i'un. Ja'i'un is a noun. Or you can say, Allahu, subject, khalaqa al-arda. Khalaqa al-arda is a verbal sentence. So a verbal sentence can be the predicate. Or you can have a phrase. You can say, Ar-rajulu fil madrasati. The man, still the subject, is still definite, it's still marfu'. Fil madrasati is a phrase, it's a jar phrase, and it is sitting inside of that nominal sentence. you think about it inside of a box, that box is my predicate. So the predicate in the nominal sentence could be another noun, it could be a verbal sentence, it could be a phrase, any kind of phrase. And we'll talk about the phrases in a different lecture. All right? So, here's a question for you, Karen. If I have a sentence that starts with a verb, is it a nominal or a verbal sentence?
Verbal.
And if I have a sentence that has a verb, but I started with a subject, is it a nominal or a verbal sentence?
Nominal.
Nominal, excellent. And where is the predicate in the sentence that has a verb in it? It's the verbal sentence itself. The whole thing is now the predicate. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so the most important thing to remember in the Arabic language is that it's the case ending that determines the function of the word in the sentence, not the order of the word in the sentence. In English, word order determine meaning. In Arabic, case ending determine meaning. So let's take a look quickly at that. Okay, so what are the case endings that a noun can have in the Arabic language? It has three. It has the marfu', which is traditionally the u, un, una, or atu sound. The last two is for the plurals, masculine and feminine. So let's just stick to the first two. The u or un sound. U for the indefinite, u for the definite, un for the indefinite. It can have the mansub, which is the a or an sound. Or it can have the majroor, the I or in sound. How do we know which one the noun should have? Well, it depends on what that noun is doing in the sentence. If our noun is our subject, it's an U. If that noun is a predicate, it's an U. If the noun is our object of our sentence, it's an A. If the noun is the adverb of the sentence, what's an adverb? An adverb is a description of how the verb was done, how the action was done. It's an A. And then we have two particles that actually cause the nominal sentence, one part of it, to have an A. Okay? We have inna and her sisters, and we have kana and her sisters. They operate slightly differently, but they have the same effect. They cause one or the other in the nominal sentence to have an A. There are a few others. We'll worry about them later. And the third one is the I sound. The nice thing about the majroor sound in the Arabic language is that there are only two and only two cases when you will have a noun with an I sound. It's either preceded by a particle of jar or it's showing possession. Particle of jar, fortunately for you, here are all the particles of jar in the Arabic language. You memorize those, you're golden. Okay? Showing possession, this is how we show possession in the Arabic language. It's very simple. Possession is two nouns where the second noun is the possessor of the first noun. I will say the book of the student, or in English I will say the student's book, apostrophe S. When you have those two structures in Arabic, we have only one way we represent it. We will say kitabu at-talibi. And how do you know you have a possession phrase in the Arabic language? You look at the first noun. What is its characteristics? It has no al, it has no tanween, and the word that comes after it always is majroora. Kitabu, it's not al-kitabu, it's not kitabun, it's kitabu. Al-waladi. Al-waladi has an I sound. You immediately recognize that as a idafa construction, as a possession structure. All right? Your ear should start to be trained from now on that when you ever hear a noun in Arabic, you're reading it, and it doesn't have an L, and it doesn't have tanween, Your ear should hear something of. When I say kitabu, your ear should be hearing book of. And when you hear the word book of, you know that there is something coming. You know, there is anticipation. You are anticipating what to come next. And that concludes our session for today. Do your homework as indicated on the website, and I will see you next week.